Hi everyone. In this video we will see about extortion, that is section 308 under Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Okay, then let's see the definition of extortion. When can a person be convicted under this section? Section 308 subsection 1 defines extortion. Whoever intentionally puts any person in fear of any injury to that person or to any other, and thereby dishonestly induces the person so put in fear to deliver to any person any property or valuable security or anything signed or sealed which may be converted into a valuable security, commits extortion. Again, there's explanation in simple terms, that is, a person creates fear of harm or injury. Because of that fear, the victim gives something valuable, like money, property, or a signed paper. This act is called extortion. So overall it is about fear and in return delivery of property. Next, we'll look at the ingredients. To make a person get convicted under this section, these two ingredients need to be satisfied. 1. Intentionally putting a person in fear of injury to himself or to another. 2. Dishonestly inducing the person so put in fear to deliver to any person any property or valuable security. So, two ingredients are intentionally putting a person in fear and making him deliver the property. We'll look at each point in detail. And there are certain points you should know, that is, under first ingredient. The fear must be intentional. The injury can be physical, emotional, reputational, or even financial. The injury need not actually happen. It is the fear of injury that matters. To understand it better, there is example. Let's look at it. Example. A threatens be saying, if you don't give me 50,000 rupees, I will harm your daughter. Even if no harm actually occurs, the fear created by A is enough. Coming to second ingredient, the points you should know are: times the person in fear must be forced to give something valuable because of that fear. Times this includes money, goods, documents, or even signatures. Times the delivery must be dishonest, that is, the accused wants to gain wrongful benefit or cause wrongful loss to the victim. There's one more thing you should know, that is, even if the property is not given to the person making the threat, but to someone else, this ingredient is still fulfilled. There's one more example, let me read it loud. B, after being threatened by A, signs a blank check and gives it to A out of fear. Here, B is dishonestly induced to deliver a valuable security. Now let's dive into the illustrations. Under KSLU, these illustrations can be asked for problem questions, so listen carefully. And one more thing, these illustrations which are given in the BEAR Act. If a person threatens to defame you or any other threat such as wrongful confinement or plow up land that is spoiling the land or grievous hurt, etc., these threat will considered as an act under extortion. Let's look at the punishment part. Section 308 subsection 2 to 7 deals with the punishment. Now the next part is about the difference between theft and extortion. 1. In theft, offenders takes property without the consent of the owner. In extortion, wrongfully obtaining consent. 2. Only movable property may be the subject matter of theft. The property obtained by extortion is not limited only to movable one. Even the immovable property is delivered to the offender. 3. In theft, the property is taken by the offender. In extortion, it is delivered to the offender. 4. In theft, no force or threat is used or fear is caused in taking the property. In extortion, the property is obtained by intentionally putting a person in fear and dishonestly inducing him to deliver the property. Now we'll see the case law. Queen v. Nathalak Mirad. In this case, Bishop had some illicit relationship with a woman and accused is trying to threaten to obtain something. Court held this as extortion and the accused was convicted. This is all about extortion. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Have a smile in your face, buddy.